Hey Frag fam, what is going on? I hope you guys are all doing well today. Elliot here. Welcome back to the Fragrance Well. So it is that time of year again where I like to do the wrap up of the previous year. So we're going to wrap up 2024 in a series of videos and content. For today's video, this is going to be the best pickups of 2024. Now, last year I did a worst pickups video as well. I'm not going to do that this year, mainly because I got rid of a lot of the junk buying I did in 2023, so I don't have a lot of redundant purchases this year. And also, when I was putting the list together, a lot of the fragrances that ended up on the list was stuff that was sent to me by other brands or stores. That kind of doesn't really count because I don't really have any control over that. And also, the other stuff I was going to put on it is stuff I actually haven't worn yet. There's a few fragrances I have that I have not really worn yet because I'm waiting for it to warm back up. I bought them for the warmer months to come. So those can't even really be graded right now. And then the rest of the stuff that was left was stuff that I could have easily put on the top 20 list on a different day. I just kind of did what felt natural at the time I made the list, but I don't have a lot of that junk buying, so it just didn't really feel natural to put together a list like that. That being said, if you guys want me to do that, put it down in the comments below. If I see enough interest for it, maybe I'll do a worst 10 pickups or something like that. All right, so as I stated, I've got 20 fragrances that I am going to consider my best pickups for 2024. That's a lot of fragrances to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into it. All I'm gonna do is talk about what the fragrance pretty much smells like and maybe what I would most use it for, instead of going into any crazier detail than that. Luckily, every fragrance I got on the list I have talked about before and will talk about again, so I don't have to go into any crazy detail so we can actually get through it. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get it started. But before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like this content, and please hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so this is not ranked. This is the best 20 pickups, not the top 20 pickups. I did not rank it. They're pretty much in order of acquisition for the most part, so that's just the order of it. So first up, from Wilhelm Parfumerie, this is Morning Chess. Wilhelm Parfumerie Morning Chess. I've talked about the scent quite a bit over the year of 2024. I got it right at the start of it. This is a bergamot, very juicy, zingy, tangy bergamot, mixing with leather and bitter green notes by way of galbanum, which is a very bitter green resin, if you will, mixed with kind of a base of woody, earthy kind of notes and a slight ambry accord. It's pretty much the breakdown of the scent. I absolutely love this stuff. This is an everyday fragrance for me. Kind of shares a little bit of a similarity to Aventus via the bergamot. Everything else about it I don't really think really compares to Aventus, but it gives me kind of the same wearing vibe in a way, but it's an everyday fragrance that will work for pretty much anything. So that's my use for it. That is why it is on top 20 fragrance list for me. So once again, from Wilhelm Parfumerie, this is Morning Chess. All right, next one is coming from Roja Parfums. It's Isola Blu. Roja Parfums Isola Blu, formerly Oligarch, but it's the same juice as far as I know. A wonderful citrus fragrance. Collection of citruses, lemon, lime, orange, a little bit of a grapefruit, but maybe less of the grapefruit, so not that kind of tanginess, but beautiful citrus mixing with great, clean, fresh aromatic notes by way of lavender and thyme mainly, and then a base of clean woods, maybe a little bit of musk, a little bit of an earthy vibe. Great fragrance for the warmer months. Also something I would wear for anything, and I do mean professional occasions as well as more relaxed occasions and vacations. I actually did take this on my vacation to the Caribbean islands earlier this year, so this is a great scent for that as well, and I've worn it to work a number of times also. A wonderful citrus fragrance here, very luxurious smelling, great for anything as far as I'm concerned. Once again, from Roja Parfums, this is Isola Blu. Next up is from Zaharoff, and this is Signature Rosé. Zaharoff Signature Rosé. So this is a rose fragrance, obviously, as the name does imply, and it is a wonderful collection of rose. If you're not familiar with rose and you just want to know a lot of what rose can potentially smell like, it's kind of packed into this. That being said, I wouldn't say this is a good first buy. It could be a little overwhelming. This is the lemony rose. This is the green and stemmy kind of rose. It's the jammy rose. Maybe not so much the fruity aspect you can sometimes get from some rose and how it's used, but it is a collection of rose mixing with incense and luxurious woods. That's pretty much what you're gonna get from this scent. Amazing rose scent. If you are a fan of rose fragrances at even a basic level, this is one probably worth checking out. It's a rose lover's dream as far as I'm concerned. Once again, from Zaharoff, this is Signature Rosé. All right, next one's coming from Lorenzo Pizzalia. This is Black Sea. Lorenzo Pizzalia Black Sea. Black Sea, kind of an appropriate name for it. Inspiration for the fragrance, stormy sea approaching a shoreline. This is obviously quite aquatic in that nature. It's a little bit green, also kind of an algae feel. It's quite powdery. There's a lot of ambergris in here. Has a little bit of a saltiness. It's a very powerful scent, something that I also would consider an everyday wear fragrance if you like aquatics that have a richer, darker nature to them. This isn't kind of the bright, vibrant aquatic you get from something like an Aqua de Gio fragrance or something like that. Not gonna be for everyone, but for whatever reason, when I first got my nose on this, it really stuck with me, and it has been a great experience wearing this fragrance, and I'm gonna continue to do so. Once again, from Lorenzo Pizzalia, this is Black Sea. All right, next one is coming from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, and it's gonna be Aqua Media Cologne Forte. Mason Francis Kirkjohn, Aqua Media Cologne Forte. This is a tea fragrance, matcha tea to be exact, which is not something I've experienced in a lot of fragrances. I'm sure there's plenty out there. Tea is not a skimped on fragrance note, if you will, but this one focuses on matcha, which is a little bit different than, black tea or even green tea. And also it's mixing a very nice lime note, making it very vibrant and juicy, and also a note of fennel, which gives it an interesting vegetal green characteristic and pretty much a good base of musk. Amazing warmer weather fragrance, springtime and summertime approved as far as I'm concerned. Probably could get some awesome experience with cooler weather as well. But this one here, tea fragrance, it's calming. You can pretty much use this for whatever leisurely activities as well as more formal ones as far as I'm concerned, particularly if it's a little bit warmer out. So once again, from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, this one here is Aqua Media Cologne Forte. All right, next one's gonna be coming from Louis Vuitton, and this is Imagination. Louis Vuitton, Imagination. Also a fragrance that features tea, although I wouldn't quite call this a tea fragrance. I think tea is a focal part of it, but it's more of just a fresh and clean scent. Uses bergamot, uses Ceylon cinnamon, which is a fresher version of cinnamon, black tea. There's neroli in here, kind of creating this slightly soapy vibe that adds to the cleanliness of the scent. And it is pretty much an Ambroxan balm, especially when it dries down. That's pretty much all I get from it. This is an amazing everyday use fragrance. Kind of acts like a blue fragrance without really smelling like a traditional blue scent. This is easily one of my most worn additions from the year, so this really turned out to be a great addition to my collection, so it kind of made it onto this list no problem. Once again, from Louis Vuitton, this one here is Imagination. All right, next one also is coming from Louis Vuitton, and this one here is going to be Lovers. Louis Vuitton Lovers. Give me a second, I'm looking. I think this might be one of the few 2024 releases on this particular list. Anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. This is also a great everyday use fragrance, but a completely different characteristic from Imagination. This one has a slight similarity to Santal 33 from Le Labo by using cedarwood and sandalwood, but it also mixes galbanum, giving more of that bitter green characteristic that galbanum gives, and also ginger to give a bright spice to the fragrance. This stuff here is something that kind of grew on me while I was testing it, ultimately ended up buying it during the testing process, and frankly has also been one of my go-to fragrances for just kind of everyday usage, casual, business, work, night out, whatever. This is also a fragrance that just kind of does it all. So once again, from Louis Vuitton, this one here is LV Lovers. All right, next one's gonna be coming from Kajal. This one here is Masa. Kajal Masa. And guess what? This one also everyday use fragrance. You should notice a pattern by now. But this one here is a fruity patchouli fragrance with a little bit of a green aquatic edge, clean woodiness, if you will. Kind of a crispy, tangy apple kind of fruity feel. Patchouli in here, more leafy, not really chocolatey in any way. Leafy, kind of earthy patchouli is what I get mainly from this scent. And again, this is another everyday wear fragrance that has a slight Middle Eastern vibe to it. Completely different from your typical everyday wear scent, but I think it works great for that. Powerful stuff, lasts all day. And another one from the House of Kajal, which has many that people really hold in high regard. I think this is one that should get a little bit more praise than it does, but it also happens to be one of the ones that you can't really get for the cheaper prices you get a lot of the other ones, mainly because it is a later release, but it'll probably continue to go down in price. Maybe, we'll see. Once again, from Kajal, this one here is Masa. All right, next one's gonna be coming from Amouage, and this is Jubilation 40. Amouage, Jubilation 40. So this one is very similar to the original, Jubilation 25. Slight changes. The concentration is probably the biggest thing that has changed. But I would say the fruitiness is a little bit stronger in this. There is a little bit of a slight boozier touch that I didn't really find to be present in Jubilation 25. And I would also say the woodiness is a little bit stronger in this one as well. But it's a very heavy incense fragrance, makes a big blend of incense combining with slight fruity touches in the form of like blackberry, if you will. And I feel like the incense is kind of the same. The woodiness is intensified, the oud, the dry woods intensified, and the fruitiness is beefed up quite a bit. That's kind of the main difference between the two. For me, the Jubilation 25 DNA / 40 DNA is something I don't mind wearing every day, but to be honest, it's not something I wear that often. This is probably just more of a collector's piece just because I really appreciated the what they did with this one. It really like resonated me when I first got my nose on it, and I said, look, I gotta have that in my collection at some point, particularly when I can find a better deal for it, and that's why it's here. But it's amazing stuff, and it could be something that could be worn more often, but for the most part, it's probably in the collection just as a good collector's piece. So once again, from Amouage, this is Jubilation 40. All right, next one is also going to be coming from Amouage. This one here is King Blue. Amouage, King Blue. Listen, for me, the reasoning for this fragrance is simple. If I'm ever in the mood for having non-westernized oud presented in a way that I think is ultimately wearable, this is what I'm gonna go for. Assam oud is the oud used in this. It is a little bit barnyardy, but the longer I've had the fragrance, some of the stench of it has actually calmed down quite a bit. It's not as apparent when you first spray it on, but it's still there, don't get me wrong. If you're not used to that, you're gonna notice it. But it is paired with sandalwood, patchouli, amber notes, and a little bit of leather, and my goodness, I just love the way this stuff smells when it all comes together, especially when it dries down. That sandalwood patchouli combination is something truly magical. I have used this just kind of for daily wear. Probably better for like evening wear for the most part. Maybe dressed up at least a little bit, but frankly, I just love the stuff so much. And because I see it as a wearable oud fragrance with a little bit of a blue touch to it, albeit for cooler weather, I would just wear it for whatever. But that's just me personally. Most people probably wouldn't see it that way. Once again, from Amouage, this one here is King Blue. All right, guys, next one's gonna be coming from Rosendo Mateu, and this one here is number 5. Rosendo Mateu number 5. Two reasons for this. Number one, it is just one of the sexiest smelling fragrances I've gotten my nose on to date. There's a reason it's the most popular. And number two, because the fragrance is kind of pillowy and soft, it actually doesn't trigger my allergies, which has been a little bit of a problem lately. I'm gonna do a video on that this year. Fragrances that won't like trigger your allergies or irritate your nose if you're in like that kind of season. I know everybody doesn't necessarily deal with that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But this is a soft, sensual musk, as it says on the front. That's just the perfect name for it. pillowy, kind of vanillic, not really gourmand, musk and amber accord, mixing with a little bit of a suede like leather, and then there's just like these white florals to add another character to it. Kind of a combination of them. Nothing really stands out, but there's probably like jasmine, maybe some lily or something like that in here. Wonderful smelling stuff. Probably best for evening wear in my opinion. Date night out. This fragrance just screams that vibe. But I've worn it for daily wear as well, you know, just because if I'm just in the mood for it, I just wear it. Also, the stuff kind of lasts all day, so it actually works as a daily wear scent. Also, if you want something, you know, to last if you have a long day ahead of you. Once again, from Rosendo Mateu, this one here is number 5. All right, moving on. Next one's coming from Naomi Goodsir. This here is Cuir Velours. Naomi Goodsir, Cuir Velours. So this is a very rich and luxurious leather fragrance that is supported with boozy notes, resinous, really rich resinous notes, honey, amber. The stuff smells delicious. It's a little bit gourmand, which is not that typical when you think of a leather scent, but man, this stuff is just awesome. Smells great for the cooler months. I would kind of consider it a cooler month fragrance because of the richness of it. It does almost resemble a honey-like texture. It feels very thick and dense, if you will, but that's what it is. And again, like I said, kind of a cooler month scent. I'd wear it during the day, you know, depending on what you're doing, but I think it's more of an evening wear scent overall in terms of occasions. So once again, from Naomi Goodsir, this one here is Cuir Velours. All right, moving on. Next one's going to be coming from Chris Collins, and this one here is African Rooibos. Chris Collins, African Rooibos. So this is another tea fragrance centered around Rooibos tea, which is native to Africa, South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. And this one here is more of the tea, first of all, is more of a fruity, earthy tea. I actually have some Rooibos tea. It's amazing stuff. It's very relaxing in my opinion. It's also caffeine free if you don't want caffeine. And it's supported with spices, dry kind of peppery spices, and really, really dried woods. So therefore, in my opinion, this is more of a cooler weather tea scent. It's a little bit more savory in nature, not really quite that fresh tea scent that you would get from something like Aqua, Cologne. This is more so for the cooler months because of that dryness and that spiciness that it has. This stuff here is amazing. I mean, an awesome tea fragrance that honestly I would hold up there as one of the best in terms of being cool weather tea scents. And in terms of what you can use this for, you could pretty much use it for anything. I don't really think this is that restrictive. I would wear this for daily wear. So once again, from Chris Collins, this is African Rooibos. All right, next one's gonna be coming from Memo Paris. This one here is African Leather. Memo Paris, African Leather. I mean, this is one of the most popular fragrances in FragCom. If you go to any database, Parfumo, Fragrantica, African Leather is going to be up there as one of the most well-known ones. So a lot of you guys probably know what this is. It's a spicy leather fragrance. Leather, very soft, kind of in the background. So in my opinion, it's actually a little bit more ambery and woody, mixing with a really nice rose, kind of binding everything together. Cardamom, cinnamon, kind of the spice profile. Luxurious, exotic wood. So oud is a little bit of a characteristic in there, but it's not funky. Very heavy on the ambery note. Smells amazing. Great autumn time fragrance. You could use it for daily wear. You could use it for evening wear. Just kind of depends on what you want to go for as far as I'm concerned. I just enjoy the scent so much. I would call it a daily wear scent, but honestly, it's probably more appropriate for like date night or evening wear. Not necessarily date night, but evening wear. But you know, use it for what you want to use it for at the end of the day. These are just suggestions or maybe what I might use it for. Once again, from Memo Paris, this is African Leather. All right, next one's coming from Abdul Samad Al-Karashi. This is Safari Extreme. Abdul Samad Al-Karashi Safari Extreme. Now, this is probably my most successful blind buy ever in terms of buying a fragrance that is not stupid expensive, but was not cheap either. And, you know, kind of just going off what people say about it. This is an amazing jasmine, rose, oud fragrance. It's not really spicy, which is kind of different in terms of what I get from a lot of oud rose scents. I don't really get a lot of spice from this. It's very jasmine forward. Rose is listed, but I actually experience more jasmine. One of the best jasmines I've ever smelled. The oud in here, to me reminds me of oud chips actually being burned as incense rather than just simply oud oil. Very luxurious smelling. I gotta check out more from this house as well as some other higher end Middle Eastern fragrance houses. This one here is letting me know what is potentially available in terms of Middle Eastern fragrances that you're not gonna find a store here in the States. Arabian oud is good too, but you can find stores in the States. This one, I don't think you can, except for, maybe a couple of places here and there, but they probably don't have entire catalogs. I frankly would have no problem wearing this daily, but this is probably more of an evening wear scent and where, in terms of where I would most likely go for it. So probably a little bit more formal as well. So once again, from Abdul Samad Al Qarashi, this one here is Safari Extreme. All right, next one's gonna be coming from By Kilian, and this is Intoxicated. By Kilian, Intoxicated. As I'm sure many of you know, By Kilian, doing gourmand and boozy fragrances is somewhat of a specialty of theirs. That's certainly the case with this one. This is a spicy, chocolatey coffee fragrance. Tons of cardamom in this. Literally smells like ground cardamom fresh out the bottle. That's probably my favorite thing about this fragrance. And yeah, I like the combination of cardamom with coffee, because I actually do that myself. I put cardamom in my coffee sometimes. So this was kind of a must-have for that. Stuff smells amazing, as do many By Kilian fragrances. I plan to add more of them this year. What I would use this for, mostly going to be evening wear or afternoon wear or leisure wear. Sure, I've worn this during the day just because I've been in the mood for it, but I think it's obviously made for, those evening, more fun occasions where, you're out mingling and that kind of stuff. So once again, from By Kilian, this one here is Intoxicated. All right, next one is going to be coming from Arabian Oud, and this one here is Royal Oud. Arabian Oud, Royal Oud. Yeah. This one here is easily my best rose oud fragrance at this point in my collection. It is rose, oud, and musk. I think the oud is Cambodian oud, and man, it just smells so luxurious, so well balanced, so refined. Thank you to the wife for grabbing me this as a Christmas gift. And this stuff is absolutely amazing. Obviously, she enjoys it because she wouldn't be buying me something that she didn't enjoy. In terms of what I would use this for, it definitely evening occasions. Doesn't necessarily have to be something super formal, even though it is very luxurious and high-end smelling. But, I would just use it for mainly evening stuff. That's just kind of the vibe that this fragrance gives off. Unless I just want to wear rose and oud for the entire day, because it'll certainly last long enough for that as well. Once again, from Arabian Oud, this one here is Royal Oud. All right, next one's going to be coming from Christian Provenzano Parfums. This is Massimo. Christian Provenzano Parfums Massimo. So this one here is a very spicy cardamom, probably some cinnamon, some other spices as well, a little bit peppery too. Green fragrance, a little bit green and fresh smelling, and loads of incense and resins. That's pretty much the base of the scent. A little bit ambery too, just to, balance it out a little bit, maybe not make it too dry, sweeten it up just a little bit. Really great stuff here. If you like incensey fragrances and spice, this one would be one to maybe check out. I would use this for daily wear. I would use it for pretty much anything. Probably every season too, except summer, because of the little bit of smokiness you get from the scent. But yeah, I just see it as a higher end something, a scent that is gonna work for pretty much anything that not everybody would be wearing. So once again, from Christian Provenzano, this one here is Massimo. All right, next one's gonna be coming from Tom Ford. This is Tobacco Vanille. Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. Obviously, this is not a scent that should surprise anyone in terms of hearing about it, unless you're brand new to fragrances, been out forever, But I finally got a bottle this year. This should have been like the second or third fragrance in my collection, because I experienced Tobacco Vanille before I even decided to start a collection, along with Oud Wood. Why it took so long, I don't know, but whatever. I got it now. You guys know what this is. Spicy, tobacco, and vanilla. Spices come across kind of like the holiday spice combinations. There's some dried fruits in this, a little bit of a booziness as well. Slight chocolatey notes kind of mixing with that vanilla vibe, so it's somewhat gourmand. Tobacco, kind of a smoky, ashy tobacco, but not ridiculously dirty, but has a little bit of bite to it. It's not super smooth from that standpoint, but a legendary scent DNA out there, obviously. For me, I would wear this daily. I don't care. I just enjoy it that much. Probably better as an evening wear scent DNA, but I've worn this daily as well as in the evening. Once again, from Tom Ford, this is Tobacco Vanille. All right, and finally, coming from Algabra, this is Jamaican Tobacco. Algabra Jamaican Tobacco. So this one here is a spicy, sweet tobacco fragrance. It's my favorite one at this point. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite tobacco fragrance, but in terms of spicy, sweet tobacco, which is, very common, this is my favorite. Has a little bit of kind of a fruity vibe, maybe some red fruits, something like that. A combination of spices, a little bit of that cinnamon feel. There's probably some other spices in here as well. Tobacco is very, very clean and leafy, not really that ashy or smoky to my nose, and really nice amber, a little bit of vanilla to sweeten it up. Super smooth stuff, a little bit similar to red tobacco, but it kind of does its own thing, and it's a lot smoother and a lot higher quality. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's somewhat cooler out, I'd probably wear this daily. Again, probably better for evening wear for most folks, but because I love this stuff so much, I would just kind of wear it for whatever I want to. Once again, from Algabra, this one here is Jamaican Tobacco. All right, man, that was a lot of fragrances to talk about. So we've reached the end of the video. Let me know down in the comments below what some of your best pickups from the year of 2024 are. Would love to see what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you all. Please remember to be well and smell well. And I'll see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.